So maybe it's a good thing that Magic Johnson isn't running the Lakers any longer. He said recently he wants to see the Lakers' big three return next year so that they can run it back with Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James. I ain't about that life. Are you, though? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Get those votes in, and let's talk some Lakers hoops right now. Welcome into the Lakers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Hope all of you had a fantastic weekend and your weeks are off to a phenomenal start. The same cannot be said for the Los Angeles Lakers. Yet another loss against the Denver Nuggets on Sunday. 6 consecutive L's for Los Angeles as it looks more and more unlikely that they're going to make it into the NBA play-in tournament. Still a glimmer of hope for some postseason play for the purple and gold, but at this point, do we even want to watch the Lakers play in the playoffs? Because we know how that story is going to come to an end. 3-12 over the last 15 matchups, 2 games out of the play-in tournament with just a week left in the NBA regular season. Anthony Davis asked about how this season has gone for Los Angeles, and he was pretty honest, but honestly, I thought it was kind of weak sauce from AD. He said, I think the biggest thing that I think about personally is what we could have been had we stayed healthy all year. What could we have been? Guys feel like, okay, what could we have been if I was healthy all year? LeBron James was healthy. Kendrick Nunn was healthy. You think about those things. We put this team together and it looked good on paper, but we haven't had a chance to reach that potential with guys in and out of the lineup. So the most frustrating part of this season is not being sure of what we could have been. This is weak sauce from Anthony Davis. You talk about Kendrick Nunn being out of the lineup this year as a reason why you couldn't maximize your potential as a basketball team. The sample size was there when this team was actually pretty healthy. They've been bad from the get-go. And last offseason, I had said, look, LeBron James is 37, Anthony Davis is injury-prone and he's brittle. Try to win a championship. And if that means you have to mortgage your future in order to do so, then do it, because the prime years for LeBron not going to last all that long. But this is the oldest roster in the history of the NBA, and clearly from the jump, this roster was flawed. And I don't think Frank Vogel did a great job of adjusting along the way. Of course, injuries happened. But injuries happen to all teams in the NBA, and they impact the win-loss column, whether that be good or bad. So for Anthony Davis to say this, especially the Kendrick Nunn part, come on, AD, you can be better than that. Now, Magic Johnson can have better opinions than the one he had recently. He thinks the Lakers should bring back their big three next year. Run it back with Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James. I think the idea of that is crazy. This roster is a clunky fit. This roster is old. It doesn't make sense because they lack shooting, athleticism, and defense. And the Russell Westbrook experience has been awful for everybody involved. Him, the Lakers organization, and the eyes of the fans who have to watch him any given night can't play any longer. On top of the fact that he's already a frustrating and maddening basketball player. So, before we start to dive into these Lakers trade rumors, if you had to deal one player, trade him away this offseason, who are you sending packing? Is it Anthony Davis, type D? Is it Russell Westbrook, type W? Once again, sound off in the comment section and treat the comment section like a Sports Talk Radio call-in line. As for what Magic Johnson had to say about the Lakers offseason, oh boy, Magic. Was it him saying this or whoever runs his Twitter account? I think they have to bring it back. That's number one, because you can't attach a first-round pick to Westbrook to try to get him out. He actually played a lot better the last 3 weeks, and so I think AD is right. Health did play a part of it, but the other part of it, we played bad basketball, and the players didn't fit, and we didn't have a winning mindset and attitude. If they're going to run it back, these guys first got to be committed. Forget these commercials and all the things that I think really sidetracked us as well, and commit to each other and commit to playing this game the right way. The Pelicans game on Friday night, that's the game that showed me this team is not about winning. I mean, what is Magic Johnson watching to think there's even a glimmer of hope? To think that there's even a possibility that running it back is a good idea? That's why it's a good thing for Los Angeles. He's no longer running basketball operations. You think commercials sidetracked this team? I think it was just the bad and porous play of Russell Westbrook. Of course, the injury to Anthony Davis didn't help. LeBron James being injured as well. But this roster from the jump, it didn't make a lot of sense. It was not a cohesive unit. Russell Westbrook can be blamed. LeBron James can be blamed. So too can Anthony Davis and Rob Pelinka. They really just need to rebuild this thing and take advantage of LeBron James still being at his prime. And if that means getting a haul back for Anthony Davis, who we're about to talk about, maybe you have to explore that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as we continue to grow here at Chat Sports and on the Lakers Report. Recently surpassed 42,000 subs. So if you want multiple videos per week for free that are entertaining and informative, best Lakers coverage on the internet, hit that red subscribe button down below. As for LeBron's crazy season, what a crazy season it was. First in the NBA in points per game, 18th in dimes, very good defensively still, even though there are some lapses from time to time. About 3 3-point makes per game, almost 1.5 over his career averages, and he is a big reason why the Lakers are at least sniffing the NBA play-in tournament. Now, he didn't play on Sunday. What's going to happen this week? We'll see. I think the Lakers and him are just going to play it by ear. But you take a look at Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook. Who would you rather have back? Anthony Davis. Who would you rather trade? It's Russell Westbrook, no question about it. But Anthony Davis can get you more back. Still has some prime years left. Has to prove that he can stay healthy, which has been a big issue throughout his NBA career. But there's no doubt he's the better player, and if you trade him away, you get a much more sizable package back for AD as compared to Russell Westbrook. The raw numbers, never the issue with Russ. It's just the playing style and just the consistent bad mistakes that he continues to make. But for AD, he's going to end this year playing, let's say, around 40 games, 23.5 points per game, 10 boards. Still one of the best defensive players in the NBA, almost 54% from the floor. 18% from deep. He has to get better there because it makes him more dangerous and the offense more dangerous. Next up on the show, NBA Analysis Network put together 3 Lakers trade targets for Anthony Davis. Some fascinating options here. If you ask me what the Lakers need to do, if you can keep AD and LeBron and somehow find a way to trade away Russell Westbrook to clear off his salary from the books and then bring in an impact player or two to improve the depth and let a lot of those other guys walk, maybe you're looking at a situation in which you can contend next year. But when you summarize my thoughts and opinions about the Lakers, this roster, it needs an overhaul, and they need an overhaul bad. Now, if you want to bet on some NBA games, NBA championship, NCAA tournament championship, if you're watching this on Monday between Kansas and UNC, you can do so. Chatsports.com/Lakers, promo code Lakers125, the best sports book in the game. You get a 125% deposit bonus if you plug in that link in that promo code. Betting odds for the title. I kind of like UNC getting 4.5 points. That tip, a couple hours away. Really late tip. Eastern to let the West Coasters catch up. Total 151.5. Kansas 4.5 point favorites. Get those bets in. Be bold about it. Chatsports.com/Lakers. Promo code Lakers125. Trade targets for Anthony Davis. I think Jaylen Brown isn't all that realistic because the Boston Celtics playing excellent basketball the last couple of months, and Jaylen Brown with Jason Tatum, they have been a lethal 1-2 punch. But the point here being, if you trade away Anthony Davis, you want a star back. But can you get a star back because of the injury issues that have come to the forefront for AD? Jaylen Brown last 2 years, the improvements have really come full circle. 24 points per game, 6 boards, nearly 48% from the deck, almost 38% from three. When this dude was playing for Cal, he couldn't shoot. He really couldn't handle the basketball. He was a high-flying athlete who projected with athletic upside, but man, he has refined his game and turned into one of the best young players in the NBA. Your ideal offseason trade target for the Lakers is who? Let me know a name or names in the comment section before we get to the last 2 names on this list from NBA Analysis Network. DeAndre Hunter is a player who's been involved in some trade discussions, is also a player the last couple of years who has been injured, was a part of some of those great Virginia teams, and he's a pretty good player, just has to stay healthy, but I think his best basketball is in front of him if he can stay on the floor. Career stats so far through 3 years with missing a lot of games, 13 points per, around 44% shooter, 37% from downtown, which is a pretty solid number. This guy can guard multiple positions, can play multiple positions as well. Here's the problem, though. We talk about the injuries. We like to rip Anthony Davis for being brittle and really not coming into camp in the peakest form of shape. DeAndre Hunter has missed 82 games of 217 regular season games so far in his NBA career. A guy who's missed a lot of games this year, but not really before it, that's Damian Lillard. I still think Damian Lillard can get traded. Now, the Portland Trail Blazers did move on from C.J. McCollum. They got some pieces back in hopes that they can build around Damian Lillard. We know how player empowerment goes in the NBA. That's how LeBron James has been able to maneuver himself out of a couple of destinations, and that's how he really got to Los Angeles. And we see this time and time again with a player like Anthony Davis. If Damian Lillard demands a trade from Portland, there's no chance that they're going to be able to keep him. And if Portland does trade Damian Lillard, you know who they want back? A star who's still younger and a lot younger than Damian Lillard. Career stats for Dame, he's a walking bucket. Anytime he crosses half court, he's a threat to put the biscuit in the basket from around the logo and in. 24.5 points per, 44% shooting with volume, 37% though from three, with so many shots taken, really is an extraordinary number for Damian Lillard. How does he come off the core muscle injuries and issues? That's something that can really kind of rear its ugly head, and those types of issues can resurface again, hopefully not with Dame. A lot of mileage on those tires, but him alongside LeBron, he'd be able to take some of the offensive pressure off of LeBron, and when LeBron needs a windbreak, then Damian Lillard, you just give the keys to him and let him run the show. Pick one to trade for among these three players. 2 stars, 1 very solid player. The stars, JB and Dame. The good player, DeAndre Hunter. BHL, those are your options. Get those votes in. We appreciate you so much for subscribing, watching the show. And if you haven't subscribed, do so right now.